We are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Boys Town Donor Week. My name is Gabby, and I'm your host. We are live today with two wonderful supporters of Boys Town, where you're going to hear more about their story and their involvement with Boys Town as we go through this awareness week. This week is all about you. We are so thankful for everyone watching who supports Boys Town and helps care for our children and families. If you're watching this video, we are going to be doing a live giveaway. So if you're interested in winning one of these Boys Town baseball caps, make sure to like this video and leave a comment below. Let us know why you support Boys Town and we will select a winner. Today we're joined with David and Pamela Harbourne. How are you two doing today?
Great.
Great, thank you. Where are you joining us from?
Eagle, Colorado.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it is so great to have you on, and we're so excited to learn more about you both and your story. So to start, tell us more about your background, both personally and professionally.
Pamela.
I worked for a government agency for about 25 years. We lived in the Washington, D.C. area until we moved out to Colorado in 2021. And we retired. So I had a career for a long time at the MITRE Corporation, which did government contract work. We have two children, Andrew and Emily. They're grown. Our daughter lives in Omaha, Nebraska. So right down the street from Boys Town. Yeah. And our son is in Louisville, Kentucky.
Wonderful. And David, what about you?
So I grew up and finished my formal education in the United Kingdom and then moved to the United States in 1979 on a one-year visa to do a marketing program with a small company in Silver Spring, Maryland. Yeah. That's the short story. Having met Pamela, we got married, and I'm still here, and I'm now a citizenship. I was the president of a high technology company in Maryland and also the elected president of the RadTech North America Trade Association. And I retired in 2016 from full-time employment. I am now retired, but doing consulting work.
Yes, wonderful. Well, great to hear. How did you first learn about Boys Town, and what initially inspired you to get involved?
Well, I think I've known about Boys Town my whole life because when I was growing up, the movie Boys Town would show up on TV, usually around Christmas time or something. And I watched it many times, and it was, very emotional. It just seeing the start of it, and it was such an old movie. Then when Emily and Dwight moved to Omaha, I said, we have to go to Boys Town. I want to see it. So Stan gave us a wonderful tour, very, very complete, and it was great. And just seeing actually what it is today compared to what it was in the movie, in the 1930s. So I was so impressed with it and what you're doing and how you really expanded Boys Town.
So my first experience is when Emily moved to Omaha 4 or 5 years ago. And that's when I learned that Boys Town has its own zip code. So I'm thinking, well, this must be quite an establishment if it has its own zip code. Yeah. We should go down the road and look. And that's to take up where Pamela was, where we met Stan, who gave us an incredible half-day tour of all the establishment and everything goes on. So that's how I became aware of Boys Town and what it does.
Yeah. I think people are always surprised by that because people will think, Boys Town in Omaha, but it's Boys Town, Nebraska. We are our own town. So I always like to tell people, I'm like, well, we've got our own post office and fire department and police department and totally act as our own incorporated village because we are our own incorporated village. So it's really special.
It is very special.
And I love what you said, Pamela, too. When people grow up and watch the Boys Town movie and then you come to Boys Town and to see how much it's grown, even, I'll tell people, they'll say, I visited Boys Town in the early 2000s. I'm like, well, my goodness, you need to come back because it seems like just every decade there is more and more. And we just built a brand new education center. I don't know if you've had the chance to see it in person, but it is remarkable.
Yes, when we visited The last time we visited, I would say the education center was probably 90% complete, so it wasn't available for us to go and see it.
Yeah.
I think what surprised me perhaps more than anything was the size and capacity and capabilities of the medical research center. That was completely news to me, and I was quite taken aback.
Yeah, definitely. It is very extensive. And to think, of course, we're most well known for the family home program. That's what a lot of people think of when they think of Boys Town. But to have, that cutting edge research happening every day, and you can walk through the halls of the hospital and see so much going on, from ENT to Boys Town pediatric neuroscience to neurosurgery. It's huge. So that's definitely special. I'm glad you could see it.
Yeah, it's been an incredible addition, and so very valuable. But I think back to what you were saying about the where the kids live in a home. And when I reflect on the kinds of kids who come to Boys Town who haven't had a family, or a very fractured family, or and then they're in this unit, which they become like siblings, and they're sort of parents. And I think that's a really, really great way to do it, because they'll feel like they actually grew up in a household with siblings and parents.
Definitely. And they get to do things that they never probably thought they would do. So, for example, this week we've got a lot of our family homes are at Camp Okoboji in Iowa. And that's, for a lot of kids, it's their first summer vacation. So they're tubing for the first time, riding on the boat, building sandcastles, when maybe before they were at Boys Town, they were really worried about, when am I going to get my next meal, or am I going to have a safe place to sleep tonight? So it's truly a 180, and to be able to reflect on that as donors, I'm sure, is very valuable to you both. So
it is very much.
Yeah.
I think, and that's the success of Boys Town, is the way it's a 360 days a year, 65 days a year of family life and education and everything right there in Boys Town. It's amazing.
But it is interesting to me, Gabby, is that we hear, even though we get the news bulletins and we talk to Stan and we've had a tour, I think that whole research medical center is not well known, and probably is actually in many ways underappreciated outside its domain. I think within its community of research, probably very well known. But beyond that, I have not heard of it, and I think it's kind of an unsung
hero.
Yes.
Definitely. Yes. Well, that's, great feedback, especially for me who works in marketing, is every day, we need to get the word out of all of our services, not just the ones that people might go to right away. For sure. Yeah, definitely. So, living in Eagle, Colorado, how have you stayed connected with Boys Town's mission from afar?
One word: Stan.
Stan.
Yeah. So Stan works in our donor relations department. For those watching who might not know him,
and he actually came all the way up here to see us.
I mean, he was in Colorado, in Denver, but it's a 2.5 hour drive through the mountains to get here, one way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well,
we got to have lunch, and it was really special.
That is. Yeah. And a great testament to, we don't always get that face-to-face communication with a lot of our donors. I know there's probably people watching who say, yeah, I mail my check every month, and I might follow you guys on Facebook or on social and see things here and there, but it's definitely important to us to kind of maintain those relationships, because as I've said in the beginning of the stream, is the donors are the foundation of everything we do. So we're never going to be able to grow and expand in the way we have without support from people like both of you.
Yeah, I think, I think Stan, I'm sure he's a great fundraiser, but he's also a great communicator. And even when he gave us the tour of the place, it was very comprehensive tour. But always he is able to convey the personal aspects. These are not just homes. These are not just research facilities. He's able to make that connection to people.
Yeah.
And I'm still to this day, it's difficult for me to grasp how one man could actually start all this and get this far. It to me is just, I think of very other few human beings that have accomplished so much from starting with zero.
Yeah. And Father Flanagan, he's talking about our founder, who the reason we have Donor Week in July, because Father Flanagan's birthday is on July 13th. So the whole week before his birthday, we like to really talk about the impact of Boys Town. And especially thinking back to when he founded Boys Town, people thought he was crazy. They're like, why is he's moving these kids out to a farm, to the middle of nowhere. There's no way this is going to work. And as we have talked about in this live, over 100 years later, so yeah, he is on the road for sainthood, and I think that there is a big reason for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he can see what's been happening all these years, and he's amazed.
Yes, yeah, I hope so.
Humble beginnings.
Right, definitely. Are there any moments or stories from your involvement with Boys Town that have really stayed with you as you've learned more about the organization?
I think a special moment for me again was on Stan's tour, was seeing I may not have this correct as to the war memorial, the memorial to those that have served, that actually came from Boys Town. It's not something that you think about. These are children. They grew up not like the rest of us, but they get old like the rest of us. Mm-hmm. And then there comes a time in their life when they make a decision to go serve their country, and in many ways, to pay back the gifts they've been given, and they pay very dearly for doing that. And to me, that was a moment of more than silence, but one of appreciation of what Boys Town does, and then what those boys and children do. And we have to keep remembering there are girls there too, but what boys, and then they give back. And as I said, they pay the ultimate price, some of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Father Flanagan was actually known, I don't know if you know this, but he was America's #1 war dad. So during the war, when people would have to declare next of kin, over 4,000 boys put Father Flanagan because they were the closest they had ever known to a father.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Must have been heartbreaking.
What about you? She said.
Moment.
Moment.
The tour was it was so great to see it, and in fact, when we come again to Omaha, which probably will be sometime this year before the end of the year, I'd like to come again and see it and maybe see some different things that we didn't have time to do. And we took a very comprehensive tour, but there's probably also, new things to see as well. And it's great to spend time with Stan. He's amazing. Just amazing.
That's wonderful.
So I think one of the things that we didn't get to do, partly because we took so long, we were there almost 3/4 of a day. By the time we got to the museum, it was like 4:45.
Oh.
And so we never, but you could go in and look around very quickly, and then we're going to close. Yeah. So when we go back later this year, that's one of the things that's on our list to do, is to spend more time in the museum.
And Tom Lynch, who is our Boys Town historian, people watching will know him because we have lots of videos with him on our pages, but he will give you the most thorough, wonderful tour. And he is so animated, and he is like a Boys Town vault. I feel like I can rattle off some facts, but nothing close to what Tom can do. So between Tom and Stan, this is your sign for you watching live. Schedule a tour with Boys Town if you haven't visited, and make it a point to stop, because it is so incredible, especially the Hall of History Museum. So I'm excited to hear what you think about that when you get up there next.
Well, it'll probably be this fall.
Yeah. Oh, great. So what would you say to someone considering making their first gift to Boys Town?
My initial reaction would be to tell them to go on to, if they haven't already done so, but spend some real time on your website, seeing the extensive nature of all the things you do beyond providing homes for children, which in itself is super significant. I don't mean to belittle that in any way, but again, I think all the other things that are going on there, certainly for us, made a huge difference to what we felt about doing the donation, because it was so much more than just making sure that some children that don't have the benefits of the family get a benefit. And you think, oh, that's Boys Town. Oof, no, it is so much more than all of that. And when I think about the results of some of the research which has been completed and as it continues and will benefit humanity, it's tremendous value. And all the things that we donate to Boys Town for us is, if you like, in a sense, the most value for our dollar. We get more out of our dollar donation from Boys Town than probably any other donation we make.
Well, every dollar is so appreciated. Just as you said, not for the only the children that are on our campus, but for the children who all of the services nationwide, as well as the research is going to make an impact on. Because, one of the quotes from our founder, Father Flanagan, is the children you help today will write the history of tomorrow.
Yep.
So when you give
to the hotline, that's the other thing. That hotline, I had no idea. I mean, and that talk about saving lives.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Over 400 suicides in progress prevented annually.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's just wonderful.
Yeah. Well, it's because of donors like you that we're able to keep those services funded and keep them going to help people when they're in crisis and when they're in need. So thank you both.
I'm sure.
It's our pleasure.
Great. Well, it was so great getting to know you both on this live stream, and for all of our donors watching, thank you for everything you do. And it's been an honor to celebrate you so far this week. Stay tuned. We still have more to come. And of course, like I mentioned in the beginning, if you want to win one of these awesome Boys Town caps, like this video and leave a comment. Let us know why you support Boys Town, and we will draw for the winner. David and Pamela, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for this opportunity, Gabby.
Take care, Gabby.